Hello everyone, Fire Angel here, and we are back in Poppy Playtime with the newest confirmed release, Escape from Playtime, A Smiling Critter's Adventure. Now, for those of you who aren't exactly aware, this is Mob's new multiplayer game. A lot of people have theorized that this is supposed to be like Repo, and honestly, I can see where this is coming at. This will be mostly just me rewatching the video and then redoing my whole analysis because I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I literally just finished up recording this on my computer. I got the recording app to work, or so I thought, but then I'm rewatching the video that I recorded, and all the parts where I'm trying to, like, where I'm playing the video here are freezing up. Like, I only ever saw like 5 seconds or more like 5 frames of the reaction. Like, it froze up constantly when I was playing the video in the background. So, pretty much, like, any hopes and dreams I have of recording anything with a face cam on this computer have been completely thrown out the window, and I apologize. You guys are all stuck with just me holding a phone or finding a way for the phone to be held up so you can see what I'm reacting to, and I apologize. Like, I was told good things about the recording app, and it failed when it needed to actually be good at its job. Picks up audio, I'll tell you that much. Can it keep up with frames? No. But yeah, we're going to rewatch this. I'm going to analyze it again. And honestly, I read up on some things on the Steam page, so I'm able to say some things about it that I originally was kind of questioning in the original video. But for some quick context, this is the new multiplayer game. It has a similar vibe to Repo, and as you can see, we are playing as Smiling Critter plushies. And we got Miss Delight in the background. I'll explain more about her. But if I'm going to be completely honest, I'm seeing these plushies here. You got Dog Day and Catnap, and the fact that it says Smiling Critter's Adventure. And I'm over here like, cool. But for some background, there's a while ago, there was a trademark that people had found that was titled Smiling Critters Survivors. And we didn't know much about it. We figured it was probably like another spin-off game that Mob was making. And supposedly it has been dropped. There's been no further word about it. We think it was canceled. Or so we thought. Like, this was revealed at Gamescom yesterday. Today is the 27th. Gamescom was yesterday on the 26th. And when that was playing, I was at work. So I did not see, like, I tried to watch as much as Gamescom as I did, or as I could. But I only got as far as the Star Wars segment before I had to go to work. And honestly, I didn't want to hear more about Star Wars. Yeah, like they need a new racing game. But yeah, when I got home, I avoided watching anything so I could like record a reaction video to it. And I avoided as much as I could, but obviously you can't avoid a video's thumbnail or title. And I saw the title and I saw the thumbnail. The thumbnail looks great. but it was my first clue of like, oh, cool, we got more critter stuff. And then you see the title, and it specifically says A Smiling Critters Adventure. And you just, like, I love the critters. I really do. I love the smiling critters, love the nightmare critters. But people are right. They get way too much attention way too often. Like, if I were to compare the critters with like some of the other characters from the Poppy Playtime universe, like Miss Delight, for example, we know more. Like, we know about Catnap, which makes sense because he was the main villain in Chapter 3. In the time since well, hold on, I should say, like, Catnap got a bunch of lore. Miss Delight had a little bit of lore in Chapter 3. She wasn't a main villain, and she was honestly gone a little too quickly unless you struggled in the school section. But the only lore we had of her was she was a school teacher. She killed and ate her sisters. She did that by playing dead and attacking when they got too close, which that was shown in the game, where she would hold still when you looked at her, and that played very well into her lore. But other than that, we don't know her experiment number. We don't know the child or adult that was used to make her. We never even seen a toy version of her. It, like, since Dog Day's over here, we know nothing about Dog Day either. Don't know his experiment number, don't know the child. But, like, that was pretty much, like, that was in January 2024. That was the lore that we knew about Miss Delight, Dog Day, Catnap having the most since he was the main villain. Fast forward to now, it's been like 2.5 years. We now know maybe a little bit more about Catnap, a bit, like we saw the conditioning videos. But in terms of like other critters, still know nothing about Dog Day, but we have an experiment number for Bobby. We have an experiment number for Raby Baby, the nightmare critter. We get the vague text that the Smiling and the Nightmare Critters used to get along. That was back when they were doing the 12 days of playtime. Add on the fact, like, outside of the games, the critters have so much merch. Like, you have plushies galore. You have a bunch of t-shirts of the Smiling Critters. I actually don't think there's any for the Nightmare Critters, except maybe one Baba shirt. That was my cat. In the Factory Frenzy game, the Smiling Critters actually show up as the little toys in that. And, like, just the critters show up everywhere. Meanwhile, Miss Delight, in these 2.5 past years, has gotten nothing. Like, we don't know anything else about her. I don't remember if she showed up in the 12 Days of Playtime. She has shown up in some official art, but only like in a group speed paint, like a group photo, if you will. Like, that's the only time I've ever seen Miss Delight show up in anything. Just like 1 or 2, maybe 3, if she's lucky, official artwork. We've never seen or heard from her again. We still have not even seen her toy version. Don't know experiment number. Don't know who she once was. Nothing. And meanwhile, like, we know the experiment numbers of 3 critters, Smiling and Nightmare-wise. We know the names of 2 of them, Theo, and then the Raby Baby is named Jane. And on top of that, might I add, we also have like the Outimals, which to me were basically a reskin of the critters. Cause let's be honest, does anyone like comment down below? Does anyone know all the names of the Outimals? If you can name every single one without looking up on Wikipedia or something, I will shake your hand and give you a shout out. Okay? Like if you can do that, cool. But like yeah, they get way too much attention while other characters get left in the dark. Literally, like look, she's in the dark. I can't even see her face. Not that well. And like honestly with this recording angle, you guys might not be able to either. I apologize. Um like and that's like only with Miss Delight. Look at some other characters. Like obviously we know about Mommy Longlegs and Doughy because they were main villains themselves. We know more about Harley Sawyer. We know a little bit about Yarnaby, but like look at some of the other characters. PJ and Bunzo from Chapter 2. We only just recently got their experiment numbers in the Fortnite collab. Poppy, literally the reason why the game is called Poppy Playtime. We have like we're slowly getting more info about her. Thank God. Like obviously they wouldn't drop like all the lore about her in the beginning, but if only it feels like they're only just starting to drop lore. Like if they left little snippets about her in chapter 2 and chapter 3, that would have been nice, but they only started dropping like major lore about her in chapter 4. It would have been nice to see like little bits of info leading up to the reveal that she is in fact Elliot Ludwig's daughter, even though we've all been theorizing that since near the beginning. I should say almost all, because some people thought she was Stella too. But yeah, like we could have benefited from some lore drops of her back in the beginning. Huggy Wuggy, literally the face of the whole franchise. We still do not have a kid named, like what kid was used to make him. I'm still on the side of it's Samuel Lee, but yeah, we know nothing about Huggy in those terms. Kissy, we're all still speculating that she's 1172. Honestly, we did not even figure that out until chapter 4. Boxy has not even showed up in the main games yet, other than a VHS tape and some mentions. Pianosaurus, the king of 7 seconds, and an Easter egg because the people at Mob felt bad. Pianosaurus doesn't even have an official plushie. Like just yesterday, I got some like the final bits of my merch, and that included the Pianosaurus pillow. And while I was looking him dead in the eyes, and I was like, "There's no other merch for you, other than like I have one of the blankets and a T-shirt." But there's no plushies of Pianosaurus. At least not official ones. I don't know if there's a bootleg version or not. We know nothing about Chum. We know nothing like Giblet. You're not even told that Giblet's 1202 in the games. I don't even know how we figured it out. I don't even know how we did that. Add on the fact that like the Outimals, the ones that I'm calling the critter reskins, they were basically just dropped in the game for no reason. There was no purpose to have them in the game. Like I could go on and on about like for the record, I still love the critters, but also they get way too much attention. We know more about the critters. We've seen more of the critters than any other toy. And it's like, cool, love them, but at the same time, can we see more info about the other vast array of characters you possess? Like, for crying out loud, Braun was supposed to, like, have an appearance dating back to the first game, and they kept pushing it back. Like, they finally revealed him in Chapter 5, I guess. We haven't even seen Candy Cat. Candy Cat has not been seen since Chapter 2. Like, I'm talking more like physical body of Candy Cat. Because I think Candy Cat shows up in Chapter 4, but as art. We don't see her as a toy or anything like that. And like, it's okay to like give your characters love, but make sure to give them all the same love, if you know what I mean. Because like, literally, this has started a whole war on Twitter. There's literally a whole war on Twitter between the smiling critter, well, hold on, I should say the critter fans and the non-critter fans. I don't, I'm not picking sides, but if I did, I'm siding with the non-critters just for the simple purpose of they get too much attention. Like, make it fair, make it equal. Yeah, but like, yeah, I saw the title of this, and I was like thinking to myself, so was this basically Smiling Critters Survivors, but you changed the name? Question mark. Like, literally, that was my first thought when I saw the name. Fortunately, like, I watched it in, like, I won't say much because I'm going to be playing it here soon. But like, it looks cool, but at the same time, I'm confused. I have questions yet. Like, I went into watching this thinking like maybe we'll get some more answers. I thought this was going to be like a straight up gameplay trailer, and it kind of is, but it doesn't give us much info. And like, I think that's been my main problem with this over the critter love. Like, I could care less about like the critters getting love. I just need info on what this game is about. And every time they've mentioned this game, I'm just left with more questions than answers. I also want to point out, I knew Miss Delight was being involved in this. When they had dropped the announcement that project was being shut down, that's also when they were alluding to this game coming. And the only clue that they had dropped when they did that was, we think you'll be delighted. As a writer on Wattpad, anytime, like, I have had experience writing Miss Delight saying, like, the words delight, delightful, delighted, etc. Like, I write her saying those words almost all the time. I knew when I saw, like, we think you'll be delighted, I was like, oh, it's Miss Delight. I immediately called it. And then when they dropped screenshots of this, when they dropped it on Steam, and we saw like some of the pictures looked like they were in the school, I was like, yep, I definitely called it. We're getting Miss Delight. Which honestly, thank God, GG Miss Delight, you're finally getting some attention. And supposedly this game is supposed to have lore. How much lore? I have no idea. And honestly, don't expect lore from this video because it also did not show any kind of lore. But let me play the video. You unfortunately, like, this is not gonna be me reacting to it, other than just reacting to it for the third time. No. And I really wish my original reaction video worked. The reason why that didn't work was because it froze up every freaking second, and it wasn't even a proper reaction. You just only saw like still shots of me staring at my computer with a like just a single frame from the video, and once the video was done it kind of went back to normal, which was unfortunate. But I pulled up the volume, so as you can see, this is the angle by the looks of it, which is honestly horrifying. There she is. She seems to have a bit more detail, which honestly makes sense. But you work with your friends to survive. It looks like you're collecting batteries and stuff. We do get Boogie Bot, we do get Mini Bunzo. Got Missed the Light. There's gonna be some info on that. Yep, there's Escape from Playtime. There's currently no release date, but it is on a wish list now. But yeah, to kind of explain some of the shots. So a lot of people have been theorizing since this game was announced on the Steam page. Like once we saw the Steam page for it, which was Experiment 82626. Thank God I no longer have to call it that because it now has an official name. Like when it originally dropped on Steam, we all kind of quickly figured out that this was something based on Repo, or even, I dare say, Lethal Company, and I will explain why I think that. And now, I don't know much about Repo, but from what I understand, you go into a map, there are monsters roaming around, and you're collecting parts to sell. And I think you gotta meet like a quota before you move on to the next map or something. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've never really properly sat down and watched someone play Repo. But this appears to be like Poppy Playtime's version of Repo. Because we got a cart. In this case, we got Barry the car, who has returned from chapters 2 and 4. And supposedly 5. I think someone said like he showed up in chapter 5 too. Briefly though. But it looks like we're supposed to load things onto Barry and like take him on our merry travels. Now, when I originally watched the video, I couldn't tell how many people were supposed to be playing in the game. However, while I was reviewing the old video, I was also looking up on Steam and whatnot, and it looks like it's supposed to be a 1-4 co-op game. And so up to 4 people can play in a match. I'm pretty sure with mods you could have a full lobby. And it explained that the roster was 8 characters. Now, there are 8 smiling critters. You do the math. Now, there might be, like, if there are any fellow non-critter fans watching this right now, there might be a slight chance of hope. In one of the Discord servers I'm in, not the official Poppy Playtime, but I'm in a different Playtime server where we're trying to spread some positivity about the games. Someone had gotten a screenshot of Tyler answering someone's question. They had asked something like, can we play as Mr. Light, or can we play as other villains? Something along those lines. To be honest, Tyler didn't really answer either of those questions, but he had confirmed to the person, like, currently only smiling critters are available. Now, like, obviously, if you're a non-critter fan, that's like, oh, great, we're playing as smiling critters. But there's a slight chance of hope. He said, currently, smiling critters are available. That might mean we see other small toys. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I think if they introduce any other characters, it will most likely be smaller toys. Now, if they only just introduce the nightmare critters, that's gonna raise some eyebrows. It's like, okay, can we play as someone else, please? But there's a slight chance of hope that we can play as other characters. We don't have to play as a smiling critter. So there's that slight chance of hope, hopefully. The other thing is, it looks, when I was reading up on the Steam page, it was explaining how, actually, let me scroll down to what it says down here too. I'll read this off. Alright. Escape from Playtime, a Smiling Critters adventure, is a new co-op survival horror experience in the Poppy Playtime universe. Sign up for our upcoming playtest and wishlist the game here. It, actually, like, that's what I ended up doing. Like, after I was done recording the video, I actually went and signed up for playtests. They probably, like, they'll probably, I think they have, like, a whole selection program, so whether or not I'm picked or not, no idea. And, like, honestly, I don't even have the best PC. Like, I need a new computer, to be honest. But we work with what we got. But, anyways, what it says on the YouTube here, it says, explore the dark depths of an abandoned toy factory while outmaneuvering the violent toys that hunt you in the shadows. In each run, a mysterious voice drives you to collect the necessary parts scattered around the factory to earn your freedom. The denizens of the factory, fellow rejected Playtime co-creations, stalk the decaying halls hunting for prey. You and your friends must work together and utilize your surroundings if you hope to make it out of the factory in one piece. But who or what you're collecting the parts for is unknown. Calling it now, it's the prototype. It is literally the prototype. The man right here. I'm calling collect parts for somebody. That screams the prototype. Or the doctor. But I'm eyeing the prototype more. But to kind of explain what all that meant. So, like, obviously, this looks like repo. You go into a map, you collect parts, you put them into the cart, and then you move on to the next location. I'll also pull up the Steam page here. Alright, when I pull this up, you'll see, like, some of the other games that, well, actually, no, you just see the store. But, escape the back rooms, yeah. Can someone actually explain the back rooms to me? Because I don't get it. I'm sorry, I never quite got it. There we are, escape from Playtime. It looks weird without the catnap mouth there. But, here we are. This game is part of a sale event. Cool. Alright, let me just kind of scroll down here. Yep, the game is not yet available on Steam. Okay, I already have it in my wish list. Cool. Alright, cool. 1,000. Alright, let me read this. Because this is how I found out is like 1 to 4 players. The good news is they have subtitles planned. Apologies, it doesn't look like they have full audio planned for French, Italian, German, Spanish, and about 10 other languages. I apologize for that. But, escape from Playtime's Minecraft. Yeah, we read that. Alright. Explore the dark depths of an abandoned toy factory and fight to stay alive against the creatures that lurk in the shadows. Each run places you into a unique section of the factory, classrooms, warehouses, testing labs, and the dark corridors connecting them all. The denizens of the factories... I've been talking too much. The denizens of the factory, fellow rejected Playtime co-creations, stalk the decaying halls hunting for prey. You and your friends must work together and utilize your surroundings if you hope to make it out of the factory in one piece. Features: Critter Co-op. Play solo or team up with 1 to 3 friends in a fight for survival inside Playtime Co. More critters means more ground covered and more chances for something to go horribly wrong, all enabled with proximity voice chat. Which That seems pretty good. I might not be able to play it that often except during the day, because almost everyone's asleep in the house at night, so I don't want to wake anyone up. But it's got proximity voice chat. I've never actually played a game with proximity voice chat. I have played a version of Among Us where we talked during meetings, but that was the only time where we could talk to each other. The Voice. A mysterious voice sends players into the facility to collect scattered parts and resources. Gather what you need, bring it back safely, and try not to ask too loudly who or what you are really working for. Now, about this. So, in the days leading up to Gamescom, so like on Monday and Tuesday, Mob had released these vague tweets on Twitter. I refuse to call it X. If you don't like that, go pound sand. But on Twitter, they had released these texts, these vague texts regarding a radio, having gotten their hands on frequency, and how we need to get the work done. And I want to add, work was capitalized. So we are being guided by a voice. Now, who do we know that likes to talk to us through some kind of communication device and just likes to be vague but guide us along the way? I don't know. Considering we have Ollie with quotation marks, Ollie with a goddamn phone, and Dr. Harley Sawyer with just the intercom system. It could be either one of those two. Like the tweets, I was leaning more towards Harley. With a proper description of this and what we're supposed to be doing in the game, makes me think the prototype. And honestly, it could still be either one. Like, the tweets just made me think it was the doctor. This makes me think it's the prototype. And I want to add the try not to ask too loudly who or what you are really working for. Now, I've seen in some games where, like, it seems the monsters react to your voice. So, like, you probably should be careful about how often you say a specific trigger word or something, if you will. Because I have a feeling that's not going to be good if you say something. And probably it's best to kind of keep quiet too, because considering we're being hunted. In which I want to kind of explain that. In the trailer, we saw BoogieBot, a mini Bonzo toy, and Miss Delight. I'm happy to see BoogieBot again, especially like I was kind of talking earlier about how like some characters don't get much attention, and thankfully chapter 4 we got to see not one but two BoogieBots, Scout and Medic. But it's interesting to see BoogieBot hunting us down, and I also want to know, my cat wants to have a conversation. Go to bed. You are confused. You are tired. The bedroom door's closed. You can't go back there. No, don't walk on that. My senile cat does not have a brain cell left. Oh, I worry about that cat. I want to point out, in the trailer, it seems like BoogieBot exploded. In which I guess that kind of makes sense, because, like, I've seen some clips of Repo where apparently there's a duck that will explode. I wonder if BoogieBot kind of plays that role. The main one that I noticed, besides Miss Delight, is the Bonzo toy. In the one shot, he appears to be on the ceiling holding a Picky plush. Go to bed. Go to bed. You're tired. You're confused. You don't know what you're doing. That's it. Go on. Bye-bye. Go to your son. There you go. I said go to bed. In the shot, Bunzo's on the ceiling with a Picky Piggy plush in his grasp. From the player's perspective, we appeared to throw something at Bunzo, and it hit him and the Picky Piggy off of the ceiling. If I were to guess, considering what we know about how Bunzo Bunny works, my guess is that he's probably going to be chilling at the ceiling, and then he drops down to grab somebody who's underneath him. Kind of like how he worked in Musical Memory, where he's suspended from the ceiling and slowly drops down towards you. And, like, there's a chance, just based on the shot we saw in the trailer, there appears to be a chance to save your buddy by throwing an object at Bunzo. Usually in the past we will use the grab pack, but that's the thing with this game. I have not seen a single grab pack. And honestly, that scares me. The grab pack, like, I've only ever used the grab pack in Project Playtime. That's the only kind of Playtime game I've ever played. But it is a very helpful tool. To not have a grab pack and in fact be a tiny little toy is terrifying. Yeah, can we make a petition to have our grab packs back, please? Please and thank you, because otherwise we're screwed. But like, I think that's how you kind of beat Bunzo. You hit him with something, he'll let your friend go. But there might also be the chance that he grabs you because he jumped down, and there was a different shot in the trailer where, like, he jumped at you and jump scared you or something. Now, with Mr. Light, is actually playing it right now. Let's get the shot of her. Now, this probably is just a cinematic kind of thing, but I want to go to a later shot where we see her again. And I'll also explain the batteries in this here. They have screenshots too. Yep, there's the whole hit Bunzo with something. Now, there. So, here's your, like, little fun fact, folks. So, back in the day when Chapter 3 was dropped, Miss Delight originally had a different game mechanism where she moved when it was dark. Like, if the lights were on, she did not move. When the lights were off, she moved, regardless if you were looking at her or not. And this was even seen in the Chapter 3 trailer. Now, obviously, there were problems with this, because, like, I don't know how often the lights flickered on and off, but it definitely was not coordinated, if you will. Like, there probably were some players who hardly had the lights flicker, and henceforth had no trouble with Mr. Light. And then there were probably some players who had some real power outage issues where the lights were almost, like, off all the time, and henceforth probably had the most trouble with Mr. Light. So they ended up changing her gaming mechanism to be that of a weeping angel. A weeping angel character in video games is a character who does not move when you're looking at them, but the moment you turn away, they will move. And honestly, that's what always freaked me out about Mr. Light. Like, if I ever played Chapter 3, I think I would be walking backwards the entire time. Like, I'm going to, like, have a Mexican standoff with the teacher and be like, I'm not letting you out of my sight even if it gets me killed. Because I guarantee I would have run into a wall. But, like, that, a weeping angel mechanism works a lot better than a character that only moves when it's dark, because that's unreliable. Unless you are able to coordinate the lights correctly, where it's fair and like the lights go on and off at a fair rate rather than like it hardly goes off versus always goes off. Just a weeping angel mechanism, while scarier, works better, in my opinion. And that's how she worked in chapter 3. However, in this, she seemed to have moved. Like, the one shot seemed to be a cinematic kind of thing. But the other shot, that was definitely, like, gameplay-wise, she definitely moved while we were still looking at her, but the lights were off. So, like, it would appear they're going back to her roots of she moves when the lights are off. And that's kind of, like, I'm not liking that. Not that much. Because the Weeping Angel aspect always seemed to work with Miss Delight, especially with her lore. Like, she played dead and waited for you to come closer. Or, like, that this is her lore. Obviously, don't go closer to her in the game, she will kill you. But she would play dead and wait for someone to come close before she killed them. That was her lure. She plays dead. She holds still. And that's why the Weeping Angel works for her. It works into her character. To have her just move in the dark just doesn't, it doesn't seem right. It doesn't feel right with her character. It might work with like other characters, maybe. Like, I don't know what kind of characters, but like, it does not work for Miss Delight, in my opinion. She's a Weeping Angel character from for the rest of eternity, I guess. That's my opinion on how she's supposed to work. And but those are the only 3 villains. And when I watched this originally, I was definitely like, I had mixed feelings, and I still do have mixed feelings. But there might be some promise. Let me continue reading this really quick. Alright. Scavenge to survive. Use whatever the factor gives you to stay alive. Search for tools. Uncover clues. Find hiding spots. Create distractions and use alternate routes to outmaneuver the rejected Playtime code creations stalking the halls. So this is where it gets to be a little bit like Repo. Because, like, obviously we see Bury the Card. That's definitely the number 1 Repo comparison. Number 2, we're collecting parts. Now, I didn't see any specific parts in the trailer, but I did see a battery. And this was my theory. I saw the battery and it looked like it was being plugged into something. I'm kind of wondering if that means like there are parts that need to go into Barry, but maybe there's also like you also need batteries to keep him going down the track. Because like there are doors, and I feel like they need to be opened. Now, like obviously, it could just be like just bury the cart, and then the door will open, and you can move onwards. But I'm kind of wondering, maybe you need to plug something in to do that as well, because there was a lever in the shot with Barry, and obviously you pull that, and he's supposed to go. If they wanted to make the game a little bit more entertaining, they probably have you finding a battery or 2 or maybe more to power up the lever so that when you pull it, it does what it's supposed to do. That's my thoughts. Like, I actually think like, you can see the lever here, there's a door there, there's nothing in the cart. I'm thinking, like, if you have a battery plugged in somewhere, this lever can then move, but you need to also make sure there's stuff in the cart, because again, you probably need to meet some kind of quota to make it move. And I'll go back to those screenshots too, because there seems to be some new ones from the last time I looked. Alright, the mini mode. Crawl, jump, and climb through every nook and cranny of the Playtime Co. factory as a smiling critter and experience... Can we change that? Like, if there are other characters added, change that from smiling critter to small toy or something. And experience some of the most iconic Poppy Playtime locations through a new, smaller set of eyes. And we saw that in the trailer, that we're climbing up a wall. Now, don't just climb up any wall. Like, obviously, like just a normal average wall, that most likely will not work. But you can climb up like scaffolding or something that's leaning against a wall, by the looks of it. And obviously, being a small toy, we can fit through, like, there's gotta be like small holes here and there. So we can crawl through those too. Alright, familiar and new. It's Playtime Co. as you know it, with a twist. The mysterious voice seems to be altering the factory's layout, creating procedurally generated environments that change with each run. Okay, so the map seems to kind of change up a little bit, which that's kind of cool, I guess. Like, I do love Project Playtime, even though I've only played it a few times. And I've gotten used to like where everything is, like specifically with the theater map. I know the exact route on the right side. I know that by heart. Like, there's a puzzle pillar there. Continue going down the hall past that puzzle pillar, you get to like this open, like this hole in the ground sort of kind of deal. If you go down there, you go into the basement. If you continue across that hole, you get to behind the stage, and there's like another entrance to the basement there too. If you go around that hole, you will be on the stage, and if you hop off the stage, there's a puzzle pillar right there. I know that area by heart. Like, anytime I go, like, I play the theater map, I always take that direction because it's the one I'm used to. And, like that's helpful for me. Like, I know the exact route I want to take. But I have seen other people say how they wished like the map would kind of change up a bit. Like, they wanted like the puzzle pillars to change locations to make it kind of like a little bit more different with each run. And I suppose that does make sense. This seems to be doing that, but like the whole map changes. I think that's what that means. Now, how the prototype's doing that, I have no idea. But you know what? It's the prototype. I guess he can do whatever he wants. Now, early access launches with the full 8-character roster, so the 8 smiling critters, 1 starter zone, and a core enemy lineup, new zones, enemies, and features coming based on your feedback. Alright, well, that shows some promise. So it looks like, I think, I'm gonna guess the starter zone is the school. Just based on what we've seen in the trailer and screenshots. But it has the promise of we can get new areas and new characters based on what we feel. Because I will say this about Mob Entertainment, they do sometimes, like, they do listen to our feedback. Sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. Because I definitely know they took what we said about the bugs in Chapter 4 to heart, and they worked as hard as they could on Chapter 5. I will definitely say chapter 5 was pretty good in visual-wise. Story-wise, not so much. So hopefully they're listening to this and get the feedback of like make a good story but also make a good game for chapter 6. But it would appear that perhaps we are going to get like some more enemies, more zones to explore. And hopefully that also means we'll get some new player character models too. Cause like I do not just want to be playing as a smiling critter the whole time. Like I will be honest, if I play this, I will play as Catnap, because he is my favorite smiling critter. But if there are more options given, I would not mind playing a mini Wuggy. Love those little guys. They're pretty cool. But yeah, like definitely get like more small toys to play as. Would be nice to see other maps. Like it looks like it's gonna be the school, and maybe a factory floor. I don't know. It's hard to tell in the screenshots in the trailer. But like I would like to see. I'd like to see the theater again. I would like to see maybe a bit more of the prison, maybe the labs. God, if we got Lily's house, that's gonna be terrifying. I'd like to go back to the Make a Friend machine. That's a nice place. Sure, we got chased by Huggy there, but you know what? It is a nice place. But like, we just gotta give them feedback, and hopefully that. Like the main goal for this game to like make a place for itself is that it needs to do good. Like for like I know a lot of people are still upset on Twitter and like other places. What this game needs to do is it needs to find a happy balance to make everyone, like, to satisfy everyone. Like it's definitely feeding the critter community, I will say that, considering we're playing as smiling critters. But it needs some way to satisfy the non-critter fans. Because I guarantee you, I'm gonna open up Twitter after this, and everyone's gonna be calling this is basically Smiling Critter Survivors. And honestly, yes, I would not be surprised if this was originally titled Smiling Critter Survivors, and they were like, nah, let's change the name. It needs to find a way to satisfy the non-critter fans, and definitely anyone who played Project Playtime, because I guarantee there's probably some Project Playtime players who played it more than I have, who are probably looking at this and being like, this killed my game, and wish, like, that's not necessarily true. Like, I'm upset that Project Playtime's being shut down too, but like the game was basically abandoned a long time ago, and it apparently runs on a different system than what Mob has now. Not to mention it costs money to keep servers open. Now granted, I think Mob is a huge company, but like why waste money in a game that was basically abandoned? I do hope that one day, maybe once they wrap up Poppy Playtime with Chapter 6, and Chapter 6 better be the final chapter, because I swear to God, if we go into a Chapter 7, I'm going to lose whatever respect I had for this game. But yeah, like maybe like once they're done with Chapter 6, because they have mentioned they want to do more games outside of Poppy Playtime, but if they want to like open the doors to Poppy Playtime with more spin-off games, a like an updated version of Project Playtime would be a nice thing to see with their new servers and whatnot. Because I don't know how game development works, but I don't think it's like they have blueprints, I'm sure. Like they can look back at like some old notes on Project Playtime. They can look at games like Dead by Daylight and yeah, no, just Dead by Daylight. I don't know any other games that are like that. Like they just like look back at their old notes and they could easily just like make a new revision of what Project was with the hopes that Smiling Critters and does not overtake it, because I guarantee if Project Playtime was brought back but with critters galore, I think people would be upset. But yeah, like they need to find a way to satisfy everybody. Definitely satisfying the critter fans. Need to find a way to satisfy non-critter fans, and hopefully that would be the case of introducing new characters to play as and to maybe face off against as well. And definitely with the maps too, because if it's all just maps from chapter 3, aka a chapter that's loaded with critters, I don't think that would fare very well. That's my thoughts on it though. But let's look at the screenshots really quick, and also I'll like zoom in on the logo here. Which, not gonna lie, that logo looks pretty cool. But when the catnap disappeared, like when I typed it in here and it disappeared, that was like, oh, where'd it go? Alright, hold on, go back. I wasn't done here. So we got Barry the Cart here with a Dog Day plush, a Kickin' plush. Oh, hey, hold on. Oh, it looks like we got perks too. And like that door needs to open for Barry to continue onwards. And we got Picky here. And this is probably from the 4th player's perspective. Again, like it is 1 to 4 players, but I could see people putting in mods where they could have their whole friend group play. And I kind of wonder if you can play as whatever character you want. Like let's say there's 2 dog days. Like I wonder if that's possible. That would be nice, because like to just only play as one of the critters per game, like I think that would just suck, especially for people who like want to be a specific character. Okay, fine. Hold on, I'm still looking. Jesus, is there a way to pause in the thing? No? Okay. But moving on. Now, zoomies. The zoomies have struck. Everyone's movement speed is increased. So it looks like we have different perks. Excuse me, I'm still looking. And so we most likely have different perks. Zoomy seems to be one of them. I wonder what other ones there might be. Here's a shot of Miss Delight, and it's so nice to see her again. This is definitely the school. Definitely nice to see the school again, but yeah. Very nice. Not much to see here other than she's clearly stalking somebody who's bound to die. Looks like it's just a shot of a mural. I've seen this art elsewhere in the games. I actually think it does show up in the school. But it's nice to see everyone. Hey, Candy Cat, we were just talking about you. Look, it's literally all the characters that, like, someone on Twitter actually pointed out how, like, the characters from chapters 1 to Project Playtime and even chapter 3 just seem to be like a family. Specifically leaning towards everything pre-chapter 3. And then the critters showed up and like were basically like the children of said family. It's so nice to see all these characters together. Because yeah, they do seem to be like a family. Like, come on, like, look. These two are besties in my mind, and you can't tell me otherwise. It's nice to see everyone. Also nice to see the Dog Day plush. Alright, next picture. Oh, don't tell me there's parkour. Guys, I'm gonna be for real with you. I suck at parkour. If there's a parkour area in this map, this is red smoke too. I'm gonna die. I can't do parkour to save my life. I suck at it. Oh no. Well, he seems to be jumping pretty high, but oh god, I'm dead. Here's climbing up the wall, and we can see PJ here too. This seems to be like a factory setting, or like they did mention warehouse too. I don't think this screenshot is part of the school, but we can climb up the wall. I don't know if that's legit the wall or if there's something leaning against the wall, because if we're climbing up to a straight wall to the ceiling and the wall is something that necessarily can't be climbed, that's going to be like, huh, how'd we do that? This is, what is this? Those are conveyor belts, so this is probably like a factory. I can't tell if we're looking, I think we're looking up. Yeah, I think we're looking up. I don't know why we're looking. Wait. Yeah. Hold on. Hold on. I'm trying to see if I can zoom in. Alright. I don't think that's what I thought it was. Okay, I thought this was Bunzo for a second. Like I said, like I think Bunzo's gonna be hanging from the ceiling and then he'll drop down to grab somebody. Like I looked at it harder and it might not actually be him, but that might be like I think I'm right on that. Bunzo hangs from the ceiling and then swoops down to grab you. I think that's what that is. And then these all are like were the first screenshots that we got where we saw like the different settings of what the game would be. And we all like this is probably the starting point. The elevator drops and puts us somewhere. And then that's just the cart thing. Oh, also, I forgot to mention this. So, like, the reason why I say this might also be like Lethal Company, so if I'm gonna be honest, Repo is also kind of like Lethal Company, but slightly different with the whole you gotta put everything in the cart and then move on to the next map. Lethal Company is kind of similar, but you gotta get back to your ship before you drop off your quota. In Lethal Company, I haven't watched much of Lethal Company recently, but the last time I watched, there was something introduced that was called the mask or something like that. If someone put on the mask, they pretty much got possessed by it and then went to kill on their buddies. I went too far. Wait, can I go? Okay. Near the end of this, it was said something along the lines. Here. Let me see the context. Threats lurk around every corner, including your friends. So there might be a possibility where I don't know how it'll work. I doubt we're putting on a mask and suddenly we turn cannibal against our teammates. But something happens, like something can happen to us where we end up attacking our teammates, I think. It like literally I saw this and I was like, "Oh my god, is that like the mask from Lethal Company?" So this will be an interesting thing to see. Especially with how it plays out, because I'm still wondering how that would play out. But that's pretty much all I got for this. There's not much else. I haven't, like, literally, I still have not opened up Twitter or TikTok. I literally avoided those like the plague. And, like, I've only hopped on Discord to, like, answer notifications that do not pertain to this. But, like, I'm still left with questions. even after this second reanalysis kind of thing, because I'm still confused about some things. Like, every time they've mentioned something about this game, like when they announced it in the Project Playtime shutdown note, literally showed no screenshots, only said, "We think you'll be delighted." Like, that, like, I still hate how they worded that. They could have worded that better, or they could have shown us just a little bit of what they were working on. Or at least not even announce it in the same letter as when they're shutting down a popular game. And then when they dropped the screenshots, it was still confusing, and not to mention that elevator shot where we can see the silhouettes of the smiling critters. That's what started the whole war on Twitter. Like, literally, everyone thought that this was Smiling Critters Survivors. And honestly, I was a believer that this was not going to be called Smiling Critters Survivors. Like, legit, while I was at work, I was praying to God, like, please do not let it be titled Smiling Critters Survivors. Please do not let it be titled that. Because, like, I did believe that it was, like, that title was dropped. Like, they were no longer working on that. But with the screenshots and everyone being like, oh my god, please don't be it, you kind of, like, worry a little bit. I lost my train of thought. Like, we were just hoping to go, but like, you see that shot and you can't help but think, like, oh god, are they giving more love to critters, basically. And with it being dropped now, like, we at least have a look at it, but I'm still left with some questions. Like, yeah, like, I understand what we're supposed to do, but at the same time, still sort of confused. Do you know what I mean, guys? Like, if they drop another gameplay trailer, that will definitely help. But in order for this game to work, number one, you need to satisfy everybody. Don't just satisfy the critter fandom, because then you're gonna lose all your non-critter fans. Number two, it's probably best to have this game free. Like, I don't play a lot of games, but the few I've played, the ones that follow a linear storyline, like FNAF Security Breach, the other Poppy Playtime chapters, Bendy and the Ink Machine. I actually never watched that, so like, those typically have a price tag on them, with the exception of probably like the first chapter ish. Like, I know Poppy Playtime Chapter 1 was free. Indigo Park Chapter 1 is also free. And the creator of Indigo Park has mentioned there is going to be a price tag on Chapter 2, but that's understandable. Like, you want, when you're dipping your toes into the water for the first time, you kind of want to let it be free and let people decide, is it worth playing or not? And then when it is worth playing, then like future installments can get a price tag that slowly increases over time. Understandably, like, each game does get longer and longer. But that's with like games that have like a storyline to follow. In terms of games that could have the possibility of in-game purchases, usually something involving a multiplayer co-op game or something like that. Those games, like the main base game, is free. If there's a DLC, the DLC is the one with the price tag, not the main game itself. And like games with in-game purchases, again, the in-game purchases are the ones with price tags. The main base game, again, free. Like, I've already seen on Discord people saying that if this Escape from Playtime has a price tag on it, like literally the main base game has a price tag on it, and I didn't see anything regarding cosmetics, but I could see it having the potential of having cosmetics, especially since Dog Day's wearing a hat. The game needs to be free, period, because if it's not, that's also gonna lose some people. And it needs to live up to its hype, because Mob seems to be confident. If I'm being honest, a little too overconfident. They have a history of being overconfident with their games, and then turns out we end up having an upset fan base. If they're as confident as they are in this game as they're alluding to, it better live up to the hype. Because I guarantee if we all end up don't liking it, that's going to be a problem for Mob. And they also need to keep they need to keep an eye on it too. They need to keep updating it, because I understand when between chapters 2 and 3, the old team for Mob left. Like, a lot of the older teammates left Mob around the time that chapter 3 was getting close to release, and a lot of those people had worked on Project Playtime, and as a result, no one was keeping watch of that game, and that's why it ended up getting abandoned like it did. Now, apparently, Mob has a separate team working on Escape from Poppy Playtime, or Escape from Playtime. As long as that team keeps updating Escape from Playtime, it doesn't abandon it, it has a chance. But that's what they need to do. Satisfy everyone, make the game free, keep it updated, and what was the other thing I said? And it better live up to its hype. If it can follow all of those, this has a chance. I just hope everyone likes it when it comes out. That's all I have to say about it, though. Yeah, you guys can watch it on your own time and play it if you would like. Make your own opinions. Like, we all have opinions here, so don't kill anyone, please. That's all I have to say. I'll see you all later. Bye.